Hello, YouTube! My name is Scott, and I just got around to watching Cobra Kai. Now, Season 2, Episode 7 is called Lull, and admittedly, I mean, you could say there's not a lot going on, but let's see what the best I can do to sum it up. So, first off, you've got Daniel getting ready for another day at the dojo, not realizing quite yet the things that he's neglecting, but we'll get to that. And Kreese is there. And obviously he's just there to be threatening. He's telling Daniel that basically they're in the lull before a war, because apparently there has to be a war between, these high school kids who know karate. Because I guess Kreese is just that kind of guy where he's actually been in a war, and I guess it just sort of never ends. He doesn't believe in peace, I guess. Kreese doesn't believe in peace. And he puts out the cigar he's smoking in one of Daniel's bonsai trees. That's not cool. Anyway, over at Cobra Kai... Wait, do I want to do Cobra Kai? Yeah, I'll do Cobra Kai first. Over at Cobra Kai, it's time for a different kind of training, at a place Kreese calls Coyote Creek. Now, Johnny recognizes it, so clearly he went through this as a kid. Coyote Creek seems to be this place in the woods where the students are just divided into teams. They have red headbands and black headbands. And the two teams go up against each other. It's kind of interesting because Kreese ended the last episode by telling the Cobra Kai kids while they trained that, they were a family and they were all the brothers and sisters and their team, and Cobra Kai never dies and all that. But now he's saying today they're not your brothers, they're not your family, they're your enemies. I mean, make up your mind, dude. And there is some dirty fighting. Miguel and Tori take on one random kid. Hawk takes out that guy that he calls Assface, while showing him that he was the one who trashed Miyagi-Do because he's been wearing Mr. Miyagi's Medal of Honor around his neck. Can't believe that. Let's see. The final fight comes down to Miguel and Hawk. There's this one cool thing where Hawk comes out of a tree at one guy. But anyway, now Miguel wins the fight against Hawk, pulls off his headband, pulls off the Medal of Honor, and then Kreese tells him to finish it, and he kicks him while he's down. And Johnny realizes that Kreese is teaching these kids basically the old ways of Cobra Kai. Now, Miguel should have snagged the win for Team Black there, but here's the thing. When this whole thing started, that guy that decided to join Cobra Kai after talking to Johnny at the hardware store, the guy they called Chubbs, he shows up with this brand new look and decides that, everybody's going to call him Stingray now. He changed his image like Hawk did. Since the idea is to win by any means necessary, he disguised himself by hiding under a bunch of leaves. And when Miguel was the only one left, caught him in a headlock and pulled off his headband. It was actually pretty clever, and he didn't have to do any actual karate. So the very last scene involves Johnny and Kreese, and I think I'm going to get back to that after we talk about Miyagi-Do for a little bit. So, turns out it's a pretty hot day, and Daniel starts off by trying to teach everybody in the heat. You got one student standing in a circle, and the rest of them around them, and then Daniel picks one to attack at random, and they have to anticipate it and block. The heat doesn't go so well, so Daniel switches to having them do it in a freezer. Apparently, there's a giant walk-in freezer he can just use. In both cases, Dimitri gets a turn. And for the first time, Dimitri is actually able to anticipate an attack and block it and counterattack. And, you can see he's on his way. I think he's finally learning. But there's also sparks flying between Sam and Robbie. It gets kind of warm between the two of them in that freezer. And later, Sam comes to see Robbie, who is apparently living in the LaRusso's home dojo, and wouldn't you know it, they kiss. This actually kind of causes problems, or is going to eventually, because Miguel shows up at the door a little later, and he brings back the Medal of Honor and gives it to Robbie, who answered the door. But for some reason, Robbie hid it and didn't tell Sam because it was Miguel that did it. And honestly, I'm kind of still thinking Sam and Miguel might end up together at some point, especially when the truth about this comes out. Kind of sick of seeing everybody coming in between them. I'm way too focused on the teen drama in this show. But anyway, it turns out Daniel's been spending so much time trying to get Miyagi-Do going that he's kind of been neglecting his work at the dealership. It's kind of odd that he owns it and has to put in so much work, but I mean, if he's putting in the personal touch, good for him. And he winds up losing his salesman, Anush, the one that Johnny beat up in the last episode to find out where Robbie was. He went to work for Tom Cole, that jerk, who apparently gave him a better title and more money. And Amanda has to tell him, he's supposed to be finding balance in his life, but he's neglecting everyone. And it does kind of look like if he doesn't figure something out, he might have Miyagi-Do, but he's going to probably lose more workers and possibly his wife. I mean, they seem pretty rock solid until this, but now she's suddenly sick of, waking up to an empty bed. So, there's that. And then the ending with Johnny and Kreese. Johnny knows that Kreese is trying to get Cobra Kai back to the way it used to be. And can already tell there are some kids there that will probably follow him because Johnny's decided he's had enough and kicks him out. And I'm pretty sure that means he's going to wind up back at the halfway house because what else is Kreese going to do? I mean, I could speculate here, but I think it'd be more fun to just wait and see. Anyway, I mean, that's what I think about the episode. What do you guys think? You can leave a comment down below, like the video, share it around, subscribe if you're so inclined. Hit the bell below for notifications when I put another video up. And until next time, I have been Scott, and this has been Just Got Around to Watching, an offshoot of opinions no one cares about. Everyone has opinions. This one was mine.